not get my hair to, like, it's doing something funky over here. Y'all see that? Okay. Well, it is what it is. Uh, so first of all, welcome or welcome back to my channel, IndieAuthor Jill. If you're new here, I read and review indie authored books. Last video, I struggled to find a book that I swore I bought. I bought from the author, and I couldn't remember the title, but for some reason I remembered it being a cream colored cover. Um, and so, of course, I was looking for it, and it is a cream colored cover. It was the very first book on the bookshelf. The reason I couldn't find it is because it has a black spine. Uh, so, uh, what are you gonna do? So yeah, I ended up picking the book Trouble Inside by Heather S. Chauvin. Chauvin. I feel like I've read one of her books before. Hang on, quick search. Uh, anyway, while I'm looking this up, um, so Trouble Inside is about what's her name? I forgot the character's name because it's told from the first person. Um, Zoey. I don't know why I had a hard time remembering Zoe's name, but here we are. Um, so anyway, um, I have read a book from her. Last year, as a matter of fact, Camp Sunshine. I really liked that one. Wish I could have said the same about this one. I did not like this as much as I liked Camp Sunshine. I will say that. So Zoe is incredibly nosy and like to the point that she breaks into other people's houses just to root through their stuff. She never steals anything. She never takes anything. She will move stuff. Uh, and I'm not exactly sure the point behind moving stuff because she never breaks into the houses of anyone that she knows. Um, and so because she doesn't break into anybody that she knows, like she's breaking into a perfect stranger's house and just goes rooting through their stuff. And then she might pick up like a remote control and put it somewhere else just to mess with the homeowners. And then once she's done snooping around, she leaves. Doesn't hurt anything, doesn't destroy anything, doesn't take anything. And then she never knows if they even noticed that something was missing or amiss because she doesn't know these people and she never interacts with them, so she has no reason like it and this is like literally my only problem with the book. This is the only reason when I say I didn't like it, this is the only reason. um because such a weird premise. It basically felt like Heather needed a reason to get the character into a house to find the dead body and then give her a reason to not report the dead body, but also not make her a villain somehow. I would have almost preferred for her to be a petty thief. Like, I would almost prefer that she had been a jewel thief in some way or fashion. You know, that would have been my preference. But there I'm sure there are people who would love this book, just because, like, I'm sure there are people who want the main character to not be like she's mildly morally flawed, in that she's still breaking the law. She's still breaking into people's houses and going through their stuff. Like, I don't know how I would feel if somebody just came into my house without me being here and went through my stuff. Like, I don't feel like I have any secrets because I'm a pretty open book. Like, there's you ask my coworkers and they feel like they know my whole life story and anything that I have. Like, I have weird things. Um for instance, I I would actually be curious as to I, so if somebody broke into my house and rooted around my things and found some of the things that I own, I think that they would draw very inaccurate conclusions. Um, because like I don't even know where it is now, but I own a bullwhip. Not because I'm into anything kinky or anything. I have never used a bullwhip, and I was writing a story about these kids who their goal was they were um so you got this group of kids. I think there was like 9 kids, and they had a school project, and the project was to have a goal, and they had these like 4 sections, 4 areas that they had to have a goal for, and they kind of had to have an overarching goal or something like that to that effect. And the idea was that they were supposed to help each other figure out how to make these goals come true, complete these goals. But this one group has one kid that is very much invested in the project, and the other 8 kids have no interest in the project at all. And so what she does is instead of coming up with logical goals, they all come up with really weird goals. They come up with like, oh, I'm gonna be Super Mario or something like that. That's my goal. And one's like, I want to be fine. If you're gonna be Mario, I'm gonna be Catwoman. And different things like that. And so the kid that is invested in this uh, gets them to um, figure out, okay, how do we make that a real goal? And the kid that wants to be Catwoman, of course, has to learn how to use a whip. Well, I wanted to know what she would have to go through to use that whip or learn to use that whip. How many times is she actually? What is a realistic amount of injuries she might get? And it turns out more than I thought. I'm not good with it, and I have hurt myself. I've hit myself in the face, in the arms. I'm not good with I am not Catwoman. Okay. So if Zoe broke into my house and found the bullwhip, she would assume something about me that is probably not true. And like I have a lot of items in my home that are mostly either a research purpose thing or a just a weird hobby or quirk. So, yeah, I have no idea what she would assume about me. If she came into my house and started digging around, I don't know. I think that's the weirdest thing I own, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I have a concerning amount of paintbrushes, but I also have canvases and paints. So, I mean, she would just assume that I paint, I guess. Um, yeah, and oh, yeah, I have. If you've been here, well, maybe you haven't been here. Maybe I haven't shown that, but I have ventriloquist puppets um, up on the top of my uh, bookshelf that are very rarely ever seen in the cameras. Like this is Swift. Um, he's got a pocket back here so you can control his tail. Get my fingers in there right. I'm not good at ventriloquism, but I like to play with the puppets. So, um, yeah, what Zoe would assume about me, who knows? But yeah, that's the only problem. That's really the only problem I had with it, was that it felt like the only reason Zoe had this quirk was so that she wasn't a complete villain and still had a reason to find the body. But I mean, she delivers coffee, so I don't understand why she couldn't just deliver coffee, um, to be delivering coffee to the place. The only other thing that I could think of is that maybe, like, she would have a reason at that point. She would have a reason to call 911. Um, I still think that that could get her involved in the mystery, because, like, if she's there and there's no other, but there's no one else around. If she had came in like right after the murder happened, then they could have a reason to suspect her. And most of the cozy mysteries or thrillers, there has to be a reason for the amateur sleuth like Zoe to get involved and find out who did it, um, and help the police find the culprit. And the main reason for that, like, if she usually it's a case of, well, you're our prime suspect, and so they're like, she's like, she could be like, hey, granted, I understand that, but you're wrong, so move along somewhere, please, and go find the real killer. But um other than that, I mean, like I said, the her breaking in just to snoop around, it's, for me, it kind of took me out of the story. It felt a little bit contrived, but everything beyond that was fine. It was a little bit slow at first, because you're really inside Zoe's head most of the way, and just the way sometimes she gets. One of the things I liked about being in her head is that she thinks very organically. Like, there's a lot of times when you're in a story and you're in somebody else's head, they're thinking about things very logically, and they're very self-aware, and that's almost a little annoying. They're like, who is this self-aware? And she's not terribly self-aware. Um she'll she'll see something and she'll notice something, and then she makes her own judgments based on uh what she's seeing, and then she goes on these little tangents, and then she comes back and she's like, oh wait, I'm in the middle of doing something. I should be focusing on that thing, and not daydreaming. This is just not going to be this. No. um but yeah, so I appreciated that about her mental inner monologue, is that she kept, every once in a while she would go on these little mini tangents, and it wasn't like, for me, I'll go on mini tangents. You've seen me go on these tangents, like going on this whole thing about the um bullwhip. Heather does a really good job of reining Zoe in, to where she'll go on these tangents, but she goes on them so briefly. It's like a small detour. It's not so much I've got to go around the block to get back here, like I tend to do, but it's like, okay, I've got to step off of the sidewalk to get around this thing, and then I'll come back. I'll just step off the sidewalk, go a few paces up, and then come back. And so Heather does a really good job of reining Zoe in and helping Zoe stay on task, while still allowing her to have those little, oh, it reminds me of this time. And it's like, yes, but I understand it reminds you of this time, but let's get back to who killed this guy, okay? Um, or why this person suddenly just showed up out of nowhere. Um, you know, different things like that. Uh, she does end up finding out, like, she feels very isolated and alone. Like, she feels like her boss is her closest friend, but as she gets in here, she does find that there are people who care about her a lot more than what she thought they did. And I think that was also very realistic, because a lot of times I know I was just reflecting on this yesterday, that um I never saw myself the way my parents saw myself. That made sense, I'm sure. But I didn't see myself as the way my parents see me. My parents had a very different impression of the kind of person I was than what I thought I was. Um, and definitely a different perception than what I thought they had of me. It's so easy when, especially when you're so, um, I don't want to say self-involved, because it sounds egotistical. And most of the people that are like Zoe, where they're staying to themselves, they're not egotistical. They're not self-centered in that way. It's just that they have an opinion of themselves, they have an opinion of everybody else, and they honestly believe they know what other people think. So you'll see this in, like, if you have read The Hunger Games, where uh Katniss is a very unreliable narrator, because she actually believes that everybody in the village dislikes her, without realizing that everybody in the village is in District 12 is rooting for her. Um, she believes in the first book that Peta is trying to kill her, and he is trying to he's working with the careers in order to go after her, rather than he's teaming up with the careers in order to protect her. It doesn't cross her mind until uh it's revealed that two people from each district, the two people from the district, can survive together, that she realizes she can team up with him, and that it's safe to do so, and that she could trust him. And even then, it's not a she's not thinking in a romantic sense, and she thinks that Peta just views her as this, you know, poor girl that he had sympathy for once. And um Zoe is very much the same way, is that she believes that if anybody knew her secret, they would turn on her, that she doesn't have any close friends, that she doesn't have anybody that cares about her um on a level that she would find meaningful. And um she finds out that in a lot of ways she's wrong, and that people perceive her and think of her in a completely different way than what she thought they did. But um like I said, it's not a self-centered type situation, but it's so self-focused that um you misinterpret um the social cues that people give you. And I do this a lot. There are I was I assume I annoy everybody that I come in contact with. I don't know why I assume I annoy them. I just do. So I went a long time trying to limit how much people were exposed to me, because I didn't want to annoy them. So I was attending a church, and I would hang out a little bit and discuss the sermon or whatever. And then I would say, okay, well, I'll see you guys later. I got to go. And I would leave, because I didn't want to annoy them. And, a lot of, I was a recent, I had only recently joined this church, and a lot of these people, they were friends with one another. So they had already established their friendships, and I didn't want to impose on any of those. And so I would leave. And at one point, um, one day I was getting ready to leave, and I somebody asked if I wanted a ride, but I didn't realize they were talking to me. I thought they were talking to somebody else, because who would offer me a ride? I'm annoying. Nobody wants to spend more time with me, you know? And so I started walking away, and she's like, "Do you want a ride?" And again, I thought she was talking to somebody else, and somebody else, like, there's no point in asking her. She just keeps walking away. And I was like, "Wait, are you talking to me?" And she's like, "Yeah, did you want a ride?" And I was like, "No, I just live a block away." And like, I thought I was doing the polite thing and getting out of their way, and I was actually being rude by leaving so abruptly after church, because it never occurred to me that anybody would want to spend any time with me. So uh the self-involved thoughts, like I said, you pick up the social cues incorrectly, and you make assumptions that have not been verified in any way, shape, or form. But you just assume, okay, well, this person thinks sees me as this way, and therefore that's who I am to them, and they actually perceive you very differently. Um, and again, there have been a lot of times, like even with my mom, um, before she died, she had written me a letter, and uh, in the letter she talked about how she saw me, and I was like, I okay, I just thought I was the disappointment, because I'm a bit of a free spirit. I had no intention of going to college. I had no, and I dropped out of high school, for crying out loud, because I was tired of school. I just went and got my GED and said, "Okay, that's it, done. I don't have to do school anymore." And I felt like my parents wanted me to go to college, that they expected better of me, and I can say honestly say that I have, for the most part, enjoyed a lot of my life. I wouldn't really change, even the parts that sucked. I wouldn't really change, because they made me who I am now and have gotten me to where I am now. Um, I don't know that without those experiences, I wouldn't be um, living here and doing this. Like, I don't know that this would have ever occurred to me to do this without some of my experiences. So, um, yeah, I think that Zoe in Trouble Inside is a relatable enough character. Like I said, the only thing that pulled me out was her being so nosy she had to break into other people's houses and snoop around their stuff. But, like, let's be honest, who of us wouldn't like to just have free access to a house? Like, just pick any house and be like, who of us wouldn't want to be able to go into that house with nobody there, no, knowing that we were not being watched in any way, and just look around people's stuff and go it through, what, like, no boundaries. We could go in, open any door, any drawer, any closet, any secret space. Like, I I can't say that I ever felt that desire so strongly that I wanted to break into somebody's house to do it. Um, but at the same time, I understand I understand the appeal, but it was hard for me to get behind a character. Like I said, I would have preferred for her to have a more practical reason for breaking in, like being a jewel thief. I would be on board with that. But other than that, the I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the plot twists. So I mean, if you like thrillers and you like mysteries, definitely go grab a copy. But I'll leave a description. I'll leave a link in the description. Like I said, I understand the desire. I don't understand. Like I said, that's literally the only problem I had with it. Uh, I put this in for the reading challenge as I counted this towards the reading challenge and the cover red, um, for a red cover. Um, Stephanie from the channel QWERTY should be coming out hopefully soon with her kid 3.0. And when she does, I will add that onto my challenge. I'll still be doing this challenge. I will just do the her kid 3.0 separately as well. So this was for the part of the reading challenge, something the previous character would read on the beach, and I chose this as something um, Alara from Thane would read on the beach. Um, the next book is supposed to be from the same publisher as the last book. I'm gonna go like I feel like I could just pick anything honestly that was self-published because it was self-published, you know. So I'm gonna use self-publishing as the publisher. I'll put this up there. Um, I don't know. What do I feel like reading? I guess. Because most of these are self-published. Well, let's just pick one. Yeah, this one. Uh, Butterflies at Blue Hour. It looks like a romance. Graham Murray hasn't been home for over a decade, and if Becky Samaras has her way, he won't be home for long. When Graham first left home, it was with the idea of never coming back, but now he's being forced to return to not only not only the city he left behind, but the family pub he knew he would never be his. 4 years ago, Becky left the life she knew in favor of the life she'd always dreamed of, and she'll be darned if she allows the Murray's ungrateful son, to threaten the home and family she's found working behind the bar of Edinburgh's most iconic pub. Oh, okay, so this is in Scotland. As summer settles over the city, the temperature isn't the only thing heating up. Could there be more to Graham and Becky than Becky was led to believe? And if there was, how could she protect her heart from the man who's made it his mission to steal it? You can't. If it's if this is any um follows any other rom com trope, then you can't. Just give in. Sloan Mattern is the author. So yeah, that's the next book. This one will take me a while because it's a little thicker, um, and things are getting a bit busier. Next week, my husband is um, going to be no, that's this week. Later this week, he's leaving. Yeah. So my husband's going to be leaving later this week to go and uh spend some time. No? Yeah, it's next week. I forgot that today is Saturday. Um but yeah, he's going to be leaving next week to go and see his mom, and I have to work, so I can't leave. I'm stuck here. Um that's just all there is to it. And that's fine. Put this back here and take it to the room later. Um, but we will be going up to see and seeing them in June anyway, so it's not like I'm not gonna get to see them in anytime soon. Um, but that being said, it is 11 o'clock in the morning, and I still got some other things I need to get done before I can rest for the day. So I will see you guys later. Like I said, the link will be in the description below, and a link to Stephanie's channel will also be below for anyone who wants to follow her and um, uh, be ready for the Her Kid 3.0, which stands for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. So, bye. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe.